What's up guys, today I explain you, Jujutsu Kaisen Ryomen Sukuna's final fate explained. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe this channel, and now have fun with the video. Jujutsu Kaisen recently marked the end to its biggest fight, as the Shinjuku Showdown arc officially concludes. This arc was non-stop fighting, and it saw Sukuna take on multiple powerful FOs at the same time. Sukuna got plenty of time to showcase his incredible strength, and he certainly delivered from the start to the end. Of course, the hardest part was nailing a proper ending for the King of Curses, and now that the battle against Yuji Itadori is over, fans can now look back and assess how this fight went on, and whether the conclusion was truly worthy of the King of Curses or not. It must be said that Sukuna's performance in the Shinjuku Showdown arc of Jujutsu Kaisen was absolutely phenomenal. This arc began for him with his battle against Gojo, and it is safe to say that he did a phenomenal job in this fight. Although Sukuna was often pushed back by the strongest modern sorcerer, he did well to hold out and eventually went on to win the major clash. Sukuna defeated Gojo, but fans know that a big reason why he won was because he had access to Megumi's 10 Shadows technique. Because of this technique, he was able to utilize Maharaga, have him adapt to Infinity, and figure out a counter to Gojo's powers. Once he figured that out, Sukuna was able to utilize the same blueprint to bypass Infinity, and with that, the defeat of the strongest modern sorcerer came about. However, this was just the beginning, as Gojo's death triggered a raid against the King of Curses. This raid saw all the sorcerers jump on the battlefield in a haphazard manner, taking on the King of Curses and doing whatever little they could to whittle down his defenses. This raid was certainly exciting, but it can be said that the author failed to make it more exciting than the battle that preceded it. Gojo vs Sukuna was the highlight of the arc, and it might just be the highlight of the entire series as well, regardless of how questionable the ending to this fight was. That aside, fans did still enjoy the battle that Sukuna fought after Gojo's defeat. He was truly sensational in battle, and the performance that he displayed was certainly worthy of praise. Sukuna fought many sorcerers and still held out, but eventually, he started to weaken. More importantly, Yuji started to get stronger and grow more into the battle, which eventually led to him reaching similar levels to a weaker version of the King of Curses. As soon as these two started fighting on an even footing, Sukuna found himself in trouble, with his back against the wall, and that essentially marked the beginning of his downfall. Yuji Itadori jumped on the battlefield immediately after Gojo died. However, he wasn't strong enough to pose any sort of threat to the King of Curses. At least, at the time, Yuji was far from his best. That said, in this fight, Yuji grew tremendously and reached sky-high levels in power. He was able to go from someone who could hardly hold his own against Sukuna, to someone who actually managed to overwhelm him in combat, and that certainly was phenomenal for the fans too. See, Yuji also learned many skills, most of which were acquired by him during the time skip. However, for the very first time, he utilized them in Shinjuku in the battle against Sukuna. For instance, he learned how to utilize reverse curse technique. At the same time, he could also utilize blood manipulation, and, if that wasn't enough, his ability to hit multiple black flashes in battle shown here as well. Yuji was slowly but steadily growing into a monstrous sorcerer, and that spelled Sukuna's doom. Things started to reach their conclusion once Yuji tapped into the power of the shrine technique. It was after the awakening of the shrine that Yuji essentially was ready for the next step. Fans got to see Yuji utilizing barrier techniques as well, and that, when combined with his shrine technique, resulted in a powerful domain expansion. Within the domain, Yuji Itadori was quite powerful, given that all his stats were boosted significantly. He was able to hold his own against the King of Curses, and if that wasn't enough, even overpower him. This is where the battle against Sukuna was essentially decided, with Yuji claiming the victory and defeating the King of Curses for good. Naturally, this battle required Yuji to level up quite a bit, and at the same time, it also required many sacrifices. Yuji was severely injured, and at the same time, he also lost those close to him. The likes of Higuruma suffered in battle, as did Yuta, and most importantly, Choso, who lost his life. At the same time, Yuji also required help through characters who fought by his side, and, at the end, through the likes of Nobara and Megumi. It was through a collective effort that Sukuna was brought down, with Yuji finally delivering the ultimate blow. Collective effort that Sukuna was brought down, with Yuji finally delivering the ultimate blow. Ryomen Sukuna lost the battle against Yuji Itadori after the latter hit him with a powerful black flash. This black flash was amped by Yuji's domain. and it was so powerful that the domain essentially crumbled and Sukuna was sent flying. As he was sent flying, he coughed up the fingers, and with that, he was forcibly removed from Megumi's body. Naturally, Sukuna himself was separated from him and was left behind in a pathetic blob of slime. Sukuna was utterly terrified of Yuji at this point, because he knew that his life was now forfeit. Sukuna could do nothing but see his death in front of his eyes, and, for King of Curses, this was truly a pathetic end. In the end, Yuji forcibly tried to get Sukuna to cooperate one last time, telling him that they are both similar. Yuji asked Sukuna to give living a try and stay with him. However, the King of Curses went out cursing Yuji, leaving the series in a very pathetic manner. With that, Sukuna essentially crumbled, as did Ryomen, the one who always stood by his side. This end was certainly anticlimactic, and at the same time, something that fans did not predict at all. Fans expected something grander for Sukuna's death, and at the same time, a better performance from Yuji at the end as well. The decisions taken by the author for this grand clash at the end of Shinjuku Showdown arc of GJK were questionable, and the way it was handled left many plot points unresolved. Regardless, the King of Curses is no more, and fans know that Yuji Itadori has now rid Japan of legendary curse that has existed for many generations.